Good day, students. I hope you are all doing well. This is an example video for example 5.3 for week 5. And in this week, we will be moving on to three-dimensional models inside NX. So we have now learned you how to sketch a two-dimensional sketch, such as this one, which is the front view of this model. So now we are going to expect from you to create a three-dimensional model using the technical drawings or technical drawing of that model. So as you remember in week 2, where you also created a three-dimensional version of the model, but you only sketched it by hand. Now we're going to use NX to do this. So this is quite an easy model, and I'm going to go through all the steps to create this model. So for the mixed class, I've told you, you guys should remember that I've told you it's easiest for a simple model like this to create a block, and then from that block extrude the features to represent the final model. So for instance, here we will create the block with the correct dimensions, and then we'll extrude the features from that block. So I'm going to show you this the steps inside NX. So if you go to the NX environment, I've already started my sketch on the front plane, and we're first going to start by creating the block. So this block, if you look at the front view, is 30 millimeters high, and if you look at the top view, is 80 millimeters wide. So we're going to create the front sketch representing these dimensions. So we're going to use a rectangle, and we're just going to create 80 millimeters wide and 30 millimeters high. And we're going to click and just zoom out a bit. So now I can move the sketch around. So what I want to do as we mentioned previously, to start or to keep your origin in the middle of the sketch, I'm just going to align the middle point of that with the sketch origin. So vertically align that and horizontally align these 2 points. So now you'll see the sketch is fully constrained, and we have a block representing uh, the the big block that will make up this model. So we're done with that now, so we can finish the sketch. So you'll see, by creating a three-dimensional model inside NX using the technical drawing or drafting sheet, you'll create multiple sketches. You cannot just draw everything in that one sketch and expect that if you extrude, NX will automatically create the model. So there's different steps of sketching. So first, now you'll see also this is the top view. Remember, it's third angle orthographic, so front, top, and right. So you'll see this sketch or this model is this block that we've created here is extruded 40 millimeters deep. So we're going to create this and extrude. Uh, we'll show you in detail all these features, but I'm going to show you the basics now. So the extrude feature extrudes a sketch to create a three-dimensional representation. So we're going to extrude the sketch. Now I always like to sketch away from the screen, or extrude away from the screen, if I can explain it like that. So I'm just going to reverse the direction so that it extrudes that way, and then it's 40 millimeters. So just going to enter 40, and once you click OK, now we have the block. So now we can work from this. So code word for today's class is Windows. Okay, so moving on to the block, we can then create the features on the block. So the first thing that I will do is extrude these 2 blocks on the sides. So now what's the dimensions of this block? Now either the draftsman will indicate all the dimensions, which is typically not done. So for this one, you'll see that the height is 30, and this so that block there represents 10 millimeters. So that's 10 millimeters, meaning that that should be 20 millimeters. And then if you look at this, you'll see it's 80, and that is 40. So it's from there to there is 40, and from that point to this point is 80, meaning that 80 minus 40 is 40, and thus that means that this needs to be 20 and this needs to be 20. So it's squares on the sides, by 20 by 20 squares. So we'll create another sketch. Now I'm not going to create it on that front plane again. you can do that, but what I like to do is I like to sketch on the extrude face now. So I'm going to create a sketch there. Just click OK. So now we're sketching on the face extrude, so or the extruded face. So now I'm going to create my square, so that is 20 by 20, and on this side also 20 by 20. So that's your second sketch, and you can click finish sketch. So you'll see on this side, this left hand side, the history modeling mode. So it shows you the history of your features that you've added or the settings that you've changed. So I'll show you now. Let's first extrude this blocks, and then I'll show you what makes this history based modeling very nice. So if you go back to the figure, we will see that once again it isn't given to you what that depth of extrusion is, but you'll see that that width of that piece at the end is 10 millimeters, and you know that the entire width is, or the depth of extrusion is 40. So once again it's 40 minus 10, so means that extrusion needs to be 30 millimeters. So we're going to extrude those two sketches, reverse the direction, and we know it's 30. So now you'll see NX has certain Boolean operations. So firstly it's inferred, so this means that NX will automatically detect what you want to do. So for instance, if you drag it inward, it'll yeah, detect that maybe you want to extrude from the block, so it automatically creates a subtract feature, so or Boolean operation. If you move it to this side, it will create a unite feature. So you can also change this, so you can say none, so then it will just create two blocks independent of the big block. You can create unite, so then it will unite these two blocks to the big block, and this will result that the entire model is then one feature, it's not separate blocks. Then we have the subtract, so you'll see it gives an error here because you cannot subtract something from nothing. You need to subtract it from something. So there you subtract the blocks, and the final one is intersect. So what this means is it's the opposite of subtract. So whatever so if you drag this into the big block, the part that intersect with the big block will be the part resulting in the model that's left once you click OK. So that block intersects the big block on that area or volume. So once I click OK, that's the only the stuff part of the model that will remain. But we don't want this at the moment. We want to subtract, so I'm just going to use the invert method because NX then helps you in determining what to do. So, and that's 30 millimeters. So clicking OK. So now we have created those features. I hope everyone can see that. So the next thing that we want to create is we want to extrude that little part away. So you'll see that there's a piece of that block that's extruded away. So how you can do this, I'll once again, not an extrude, sorry, so I'll once again create a sketch. I'm going to create the sketch on the face, because you'll see if you, so if for instance, if I create it on the front plane again, so now NX doesn't give me the option to lock onto this line. So I see it does. So maybe yeah, apologies for that. I think it's just a newer NX that's more clever. So you can start on the line, on the plane, but I like to start on the face extrude. So I'm just going to delete that sketch, and then I'm going to create a sketch on the face extrude. So there, now we have this extrude, and we can easily, without even knowing the dimensions, I can specify it to be exactly on those lines. So it will automatically, yeah, then you have the correct dimension, so finishing. And then if we go to the technical drawing, we'll see that that width is 35. So from there to there is 35, meaning, and from here to there is 40, meaning that needs to be 5 millimeters. So I'm just going to extrude this feature or sketch to the other side. So you can either double click on that end and then it will reverse the direction, or you can click on reverse direction. I'm not sure what it did now. Let me just create another extrude, so from that sketch. So that's 5 millimeters and to the other direction, and we use the invert, so it will automatically detect that I want to subtract that. So clicking OK. So now you'll see that we're getting closer to this figure or representation. So we can now add this half circle cylinder. So once again, I'm going to create a sketch on this feature, but before I do that, I want to show you why this history based model is very nice. So for instance, you see, okay, I made a mistake, say for instance in this extrude, I don't want it to be 30 millimeters, I want it to be 20 millimeters. So now you don't have to undo everything until you get to this extrude operation. You can just double click on this operation and it will automatically reverse. So you'll see those features that you've added is taken away, so it automatically reverses until the operation, and then you can enter 20, okay, and then okay, and then it adds all the other operations. So you'll see it updates the model. So that's nice, because then you can, if you for instance have a very long history based model with a lot of features, and sorry, you see that there's something that you there's something that you need to change, but say it's very early in the tree, so then you can just go back to it and change it without having to delete all the features after that. So I'm just going to undo that operation. So now we have these extrudes. The final big extrude that we need to make is to create the half circle cylinder. So we're going to use the arc. If we go to the technical drawing, we'll see that it has a radius of 15 millimeters. So we're going to create an arc by center from that center point, 15 millimeters radius, from there to there. And now you'll see you cannot extrude just a line. It needs to be a closed loop. So if I say finish now and I say extrude that feature, it will create like a zero thickness a zero thickness extrude, which, so you'll see you cannot actually see that it's zero thickness. So but that's not what we want, and you cannot extrude with that. So it will you cannot subtract. You'll see there's no option of subtracting or uniting or so. So because you're not creating a three-dimensional model, you're just creating a zero thickness sheet. So I'm going to cancel this. So you need to make sure that you close the loop. So to close this loop, we need to add a line from there to there. And now we can finish. And now if we extrude this sketch, you'll see, okay, now it extrudes the, like an entire three-dimensional model. So, and then for cases where you need to extrude, like for instance, this thing goes right through, it doesn't matter how long you make it. As long as you make it long enough to create an extrude right through, because if you just take it to there, that's not correct. So for this model now, so you can just swipe it through and click OK. So that part going over there doesn't matter. So then we have a more accurate representation. So now we can add the edge blends, or the edge blends on these edges. So you'll see the first edge blend, there's 2 of 8 sorry, that's the circle. There's 2 of 16 diameter, so it's those ones. So meaning it's radius 8. So and this feature is the edge blend. So there's 2 types of edge blends. You can either blend the edge between those two. So for instance, you see it creates an edge blend between that. But that's not what we want. Then you can also create an edge blend between or over a sharp corner. So we want that one, and they have a radius of 8 millimeters. And then you can click OK. And then also, if you look at the drafting from the top view, you'll see there's also, and you'll see that it's radius 10. So we can create another edge blend. It's that one, and we can just change the radius to 10 and click OK. So now we're almost there. The final thing that we need to add is the circles. So it's that circles. So you'll see those circles have diameter 8 and those also diameter 8. So it's easy to create them. You can either use the hole function. So to create a hole on a face, the hole diameter here is 8 millimeters. So, and then you specify the point, say there, and click OK. So there it creates the hole. But yeah, I personally don't like the hole feature. So I like to create a sketch. So we're just going to create a sketch, not on this plane, but on that face. Extruded face, we're going to create a circle. So if you hold on that curve, it will give you an indication of where the center point is. Now, if you look at this drafting or technical drawing, you'll see that those circles are at the center point because those two lines are the same distance from one another. You'll see that these circle center points are on the same position. So just hold over that curve, and it will give you the center point, and then you can create the hole. So diameter 8. Finish that sketch. And then we can create another sketch, and this one will be on this face. And once again, create a circle, hold on that curve, indicates where the center point is, and create a diameter of 8. So then finally we can extrude those holes. So extrude that hole, not to that direction but downwards. So you'll see it's inferred, so it automatically detects the subtract Boolean operation. Then you can just click apply to keep the extrude function open. That hole as well, double click and apply. And then we can, rather than sketching these circles on the other side as well, we can use the mirror feature. So using the mirror feature, I want to mirror that extrude, not the sketch, the extrude. You can mirror the sketch, but then you need to extrude on that side as well. So mirror that extrude and our plane. So for two-dimensional sketches, you selected a line to mirror from, a center line. We'll now select the plane. So our plane is going to be the YZ plane. So it's that one, YZ plane, and you'll see it gives like a small indication of where your mirror feature destination will be. And once you click OK, it will mirror those features. So if we go to the just an isometric view, and we can hide these sketches. So let's hide all of the sketches, that one and that one. You'll see that it's exactly the same as that sketch or model. So I hope this helps you in your preparations for the class, and please watch the video and all the other videos as well. However, this is the last one, so this encouragement doesn't really help to encourage you to watch the other videos. But if you decided to watch this one first, please watch the other videos as well on week's 5 classes. Thank you very much for listening.